been several efforts to get that Bruno mug.
It's become the world's oldest international sporting trophy. The most sought-after prize in sailing. But looking back, who'd have thought it? The year was 1851. Hidden away in a cupboard at the Royal Yacht Squadron on an island in the south of England was a trophy that had been made in 1848 for a price of 100 guineas. It was just one of many silver trophies crafted by the Queen of England's preferred jeweller, the House of Garrard, for an annual sailing race around the Isle of Wight. But for 3 years this trophy was never used. Why? Well, it was an ornate wine jug, but it had no bottom. So it remained gathering dust until one day a British yachtsman went to America bearing an invitation from the squadron's commodore, the Earl of Wilton.
Welcome to New York.
Inviting his counterpart at the fledgling New York Yacht Club to visit England in the summer of 1851.
We would welcome the chance to test the speed of your finest craft against the best of our British racing yachts.
America's best against Britain's best.
Precisely.
We've got a race. And now all we need is a fast boat.
There's your ship, a pilot schooner. I've had this particular design in mind for a long time now. See, with these hollow lines in her hull, right here on the bow, she should sail closer to the wind than any other sailing vessel afloat. Look at this sheer. Look at the way she moves.
Better be right.
Now, the Americans weren't too popular in England at this time. The British were still sensitive from being defeated by the American colony, seeking independence in 2 wars in which thousands of British lives were lost. And nevertheless, with the Industrial Revolution in full swing, the Americans saw the invitation from the Earl of Wilton as a golden opportunity to showcase burgeoning American enterprise. The 1800s were prosperous times in America, a time of accelerated productivity and national industrialisation. This young country was moving towards an economic ascendancy that was impacting on Britain and the other great European powers. Recognising America's emergence, the Earl of Wilton extended his hand across the Atlantic in the year of the Great Exhibition, open to all nations to display their works of industry and culture.
Of course, we'll accept. Of course.
In July 1851, with a crew of 9, a black-hulled schooner named America duly arrived in the waters off the Isle of Wight, much to the suspicion of the British members of the Royal Yacht Squadron.
I think she's a ridiculous craft.
She'd been met with a welcoming challenge by Laurent, then considered the fastest vessel in the British fleet.
She ran away from Laurent. If you ask me, sir, she has an engine hidden in her hull.
As with the Independence Wars, it was another embarrassing defeat for the British. However, the American syndicate, led by Commodore John Koch Stevens, had their own agenda. They hadn't crossed the Atlantic just to go sailing and meet the Queen. Buoyed by the challenge of taking on their old foe, Stevens too saw opportunity. The Americans were sons of revolutionaries, powerful, wealthy men who were used to large wagers racing their yachts in the waters off New York. They posted a challenge to all comers to a race for £10,000. There were no takers. America had already beaten their best. Despite being taunted and ridiculed by the local newspapers, not one British yacht owner was prepared to race America for money.
This is what will appear in tomorrow's edition of that newspaper. The British lion has lain down and rolled over like a lamb.
Weeks go by and Stevens had had enough. He was ready to return to America empty-handed. Meantime, Prince Albert, the husband of Queen Victoria, was one of the architects of the Great Exhibition, now well established in a crystal palace in the middle of Hyde Park in London. With the eyes of the world upon him, it's entirely possible that the Prince put pressure on the Earl of Wilton to accommodate the wishes of the Americans to race. And so it was that America was invited to compete in the annual Royal Yacht Squadron race around the Isle of Wight on August the 22nd, 1851.
There.
Now we'll see how well the Americans can stand up against real competition.
Last away, amidst a British fleet of 15, America was first to appear off the western end of the island, passing the Royal Yacht Victoria and Albert with the monarch aboard, from where the mythical question from Queen Victoria was put to her signalman, "Who is leading?" To which he replied,
It's the American boat, Your Majesty.
"And who is second?"
Your Majesty, there is no second.
Good riddance to the dusty old mug? Hardly. That mug, that silver wine ewer with no bottom, would soon become a much sought-after symbol of passion and pride. Armed with their spoils, Commodore Stevens and fellow owners returned to New York after selling America to an Irish lord. For years the syndicate passed the cup, now named America's Cup, amongst themselves, and almost melted it down to make 5 silver commemorative medals for each other, until this happened.
You know this old silver cup?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if you gave it to the club?
What?
Well, you could present it to the New York Yacht Club as a prize.
The ageing Stevens and George Schuyler, one of the surviving owners, together penned a deed to gift the America's Cup to the New York Yacht Club.
To claim the right of sailing a match for this cup.
In 1857, 6 years after being awarded, the cup was now in the trust of the New York Yacht Club, and on both sides of the Atlantic, bold, ambitious men began devoting fortunes in pursuit of the elusive silverware. With this sparkling jewel in its crown, the New York Yacht Club would stave off all challengers for 132 years. Until Australia broke the spell of guardianship in 1983.
The finest crew I've ever been involved in. And I mean, they won the America's Cup, and all I can say is, mate.
To this day, the highly sought-after America's Cup is the oldest trophy in international sport. It's considered the priceless holy grail of yachting, born from an old mug that no one seemed to want.